I got kind of started a little bit late because of that whole club thing. I'm gonna reload. You guys want to? Actually, I want to tell them to reload.
Dude, that club was popping.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool, man.
That's insane. That was cool.
Dude, that's so much work, man. It's unbelievable. Like all the effort that it takes to put something like that together. All the animations and
yeah. I've been in contact with that dude for a couple months, man. He's been working his ass off, man, for real.
Who is it? Ty and who else?
Ty, yeah.
I
got their names, sort of, because he corrected me because I only know Ty, but
Relive.
It's him, Ayan, and Dr. Dr. Gayoff. I don't know this guy at all, and I friended him up on followed him on on Twitter, but. Yeah, those guys absolutely killed it. You know, you killed it when Catherine walks in and it's like, holy shit! Like, you know,
Is that what she said?
I mean, she's something to that effect, yeah.
Damn.
Hold on one second. I want to see if I can get up in the Gamers Hub too.
I just thought it was cool how like the lights actually sync to the music and stuff. I mean, that was like I think I put in Discord how Anorak, like right when you open that door, it's like literally hits you in the face. You're like, holy shit, this feels real. Like this is real.
Yeah,
did anyone else notice the pyrotechnics too?
Oh, they had everything popping, yo. They had it popping. Like,
dude, the only thing missing are like actual bottles that you could purchase and like.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's what's coming up next. Like those dudes was like that was so killer. And then they got the shit for rent. I want to definitely. I mean, obviously, I'm interested in doing a show there of some sort or some shit like that. Like that shit was sick, yo.
Imagine an emote of popping a bottle and like spraying it on everybody.
Yo, the emotes, we haven't even scratched the surface with emotes, man. For real, like there's so much that needs to be and can be done with emotes. Is gonna be wild, yo. That was like, I don't know, like really inspiring actually. Like that whole event there and everything today, because I don't know if you guys got a chance to go to the Known Origin thing. Known Origin was sick. DCL, like the Decentraland song was playing. Everything just kind of like was real dope today.
Yeah.
It was real
Dude,
cool.
I spent like 6 hours in that Axie tournament. It drug on forever. I didn't get a chance to go to the Known Origin stuff.
Yo, I would have, man.
Hours.
That
was crazy.
That was ridiculous. That was, and I don't want to get trashing nobody's shit. So, but it was a little bit lengthy. You know what I mean?
It just takes there's 45 people, and not to digress too much from the conversation, but there's 45 people. It just takes forever to get everyone like synced into the matchups and stuff. But yeah, anyway, awesome weekend in the metaverse and everything else.
For sure.
All the Art Week stuff that's been going on, and then the club today. It was like a nice extra boost to have like a different event on a Saturday and not just rely on like Friday night stuff to carry us for the week.
Right.
So what I want to say, Franky, is I watched you and GG do that whole commentary on the Axes this morning. I think it was like a day ago you did it, but I got a chance to watch you guys, and I was like, it was cool. Like I normally can't stand a match like that, you know, like those, but you guys make it fun, dude. So I just wanted to give you props on that. It's
good
cool.
Good luck. I appreciate you, man.
Interesting.
Yeah, man. That's another thing that we had going on this week. We had the Crypt Fest mini tournament or whatever, mini battle on Thursday. I actually, because it was funny, that day was another like very busy day, and I had like that, and then I got like Boss sent me a he let me know. Whoa. He let me know that the article came out from CoinDesk, and Jeff had mentioned me in the article. So I like after that I was checking that out. Like that was dope. There was like several things that happened that day, and at the end of the night I was talking with Drew from Meta Factory about some things. So it was just a really cool day too. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot going on, man. Everybody's kind of like really. I think people are starting to recognize that there's a whole new like new vigor to DCL, you know what I'm saying? Like we're really, getting it going, you know what I mean? So it's awesome.
Yeah, man, it's not as it was like only 2 months ago where we could count like in a fist, like how many events are going to be happening within that week. But now it's like too many things are happening that we're actually missing stuff.
It's great.
There's too many places to be, too many things to do.
Yeah.
And then there's
news channel.
The news channel, yeah, man.
Talk to him, open. Yep.
Damn. And so let's talk about that article from CoinDesk. So that was in the making for like, I don't know, it feels like a month or two. And,
the article from CoinDesk. Oh yeah, that was super cool, man.
It felt like they forgot about us, like, because we did the interview and then it was like silence for at least a month, and then they just dropped it. So yeah, it was a good article. It was good for Decentraland overall. I think he did a good job kind of capturing the atmosphere of Decentraland at the moment, like how it feels like it's empty, but you know, if you go at the right times, it's like there's stuff happening. And on top of that, all the creators, you know, so overall it was really positive.
It was a really good read, I thought. It was really interesting, and they had a little humor in it also, so it's kind of cool.
It was sick talking to him. I think I talked that dude. We were just going, and then I was like, he's like, yeah, I got things to do, you know. Like I'm like, I get it, man. I'm not mad at you, man. I could have talked to that dude all night. He's cool as hell, man, for real.
Yeah, CoinDesk is like a really big thing, right? Like that's like the biggest crypto media entity, isn't it?
I think
it's like the equivalent of being like on, you know, like on a Forbes article if you're like in investing in like, you know, traditional equities, I'm assuming, right? Which is pretty cool. Did anybody notice like any kind of like, because everyone got a pretty decent plug, you know, did anybody notice like some kind of increase in whatever the fucks, like Twitter follows or?
I mean, for me, it's just a great reference. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that I can always use that as a reference. You know, like, in this,
like,
you know,
drop the link. It's like, this is who I am.
That's right. So I was on that CoinDesk article.
It was a good look, man. It's never a bad look to be in something like that. You know, so it was great.
Hopefully, they keep writing more. Is that guy like in charge of like covering metaverse topics, or he just? I don't know anything about
I think he was in charge of that article. I don't think he was necessarily in charge. He was very interested, that's for sure. He was like definitely interested in what was going on, but I don't know that he's like necessarily just in charge of it or not, or whatever. So
because I went to their Twitter, dude. They post like 20 things a day or something like that.
Exactly. They were like, it was already like kind of down the list when it came out.
That's insane. They must have a lot of journalists and that, you know, working for that company. It's pretty cool.
That's a good start, though. I mean, it puts some weight on the belt. You know what I mean? Like
it definitely put it in a conversation with like larger projects, in my opinion. You know, like a lot of people don't know exactly what's up with Decentraland, and you know, when I first found Decentraland, it was a coin to me. So you know, if you're looking at it like on an exchange and it's a coin, so you're just like, that coin has a world. You know, like that world has people. And those people are real, you know. It's like that's some mind blowing shit to you as a investor. You know what I'm saying?
And it feels more tangible too, just because since we have an open world associated with a coin, you go to any other like crypto project, it just doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel tangible. It doesn't feel like there's any use to a coin. Like why use their coin versus Ethereum? Like why just generate a new coin for something like this? I mean. But it makes more sense for Decentraland just because people have their own little economy, right? There's an economy forming, and there's a coin that represents that economy, and everybody's collective effort is to grow the value of that coin by using it. It's just a different feel than any other crypto project, and I think that's one of the reasons why we stick with it.
Yeah, I mean, I tell people all the time, like I feel like a dev for like one of the other things like Ethereum or something, Bitcoin. It's like you, because I don't think about the price anymore. It's not like I'm like, ooh, is mana up, is mana down? Like I'm like busy, man. I ain't got time for that shit. Like so, like, and it sounds so maybe arrogant or something, but I'm like serious. You know what I mean? I'm busy trying to like further the project, so I don't really have time for that shit. Like I know if I keep working my ass off, it's gonna work out. It's fine, you know. Just keep working.
I'll speak for myself, but I totally feel the same way. I really don't care about the price of mana, and I think Decentraland, the team, they don't care either. They've been asked this several times, and they say that they don't care. But it's more about like just creating value. That's really how I see it.
Yeah. It really is.
I don't give a shit either.
You know, we got an event coming up tomorrow, some hip hop event. And Sam, you can let me know what time that's at, because I have no clue what time that's going to be at. But I believe we're going to have something going on tomorrow, and it's, you know, like these are going to be the value propositions, you know, when you're like literally going to have traffic running through your project. It's a crypto based project, and they're like, you know, how many coins have this many visitors a day? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so you really start to set yourself apart, and you know, how immersive that last event was ridiculous. Like, that legitimately felt, I was like, man, I don't have enough drugs to be here, man. Like, I need to, what?
It was cool, man. Yeah.
I was telling MK, like, MK, did you bring what I told you to bring? Shit. Like, you know, I was joking and shit, but like, come on, man. Like, that shit felt right. So, you know, it was like,
I took a screenshot with all you guys, like, chilling in the one of the sections, and I was like, man, like, this could be like a prophecy one day where we have like that Decentraland in Las Vegas. And like we're all chilling in like an actual club section together. Like,
hoping to make it happen, man.
Oh, it's gonna happen. I
That's what I'm saying. Hoping to make it happen.
That's gonna happen, especially the man who's in Vegas. So we can set that up.
Yeah. Who's in Vegas? You're in Vegas? Oh shit! All right, dude. That's what I'm talking about. I'll toast to that. Shit. Yeah.
Don't worry. I got something planned. I got something in the works. I'm gonna need all your help too. So.
Oh yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Like, we gotta wait for the moon to take off first. You know what I mean? Wait for that rocket shit. That's
gotta wait for the freaking borders to open first.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, man.
COVID is picking up in Texas at least, man. Yeah. They're actually they're shutting down 2.0 again.
Yeah.
Yo, here too. I already knew, man. I haven't left this room since day one. Like, I go to the store and back, and that's pretty much about that. Like, yesterday I had a couple people, like, you know, I hadn't talked to in a while. I hit them up on the phone, you know, like, how's it going? But they're like, hey, let's hang out tomorrow. I was like, no, nah. I'm straight with that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I said this before, I need a doctor to get on TV and be like, Franky, it's time to leave your house now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care. I'm good, man. Check me in 2022. For real.
Yeah, it's been crazy. There's still people who believe that COVID is like some conspiracy.
I know people that had conspiracy. Right? I know mad people in New York who lost their family members. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to remember, it's like, hit New York hard. And I know a bunch, you know, I'm from Connecticut. Like, I know a bunch of people from New York. You know what I'm saying? I do hip hop shit. I know a bunch of people from New York. And those people have lost people for real to this shit. You know what I mean? It took a lot of, you know, people that were heavier. It took a lot of people that smoked a lot of cigarettes or blunts. You know what I mean? People that, you know, it took a lot of people, man. You know what I mean? That's real life. You know?
Yeah, I have a cousin who's in the medical industry, and she says that it's crazy. And so many people come in with like false flag, like thinking that they have COVID and they don't, but there's still so many people that come in that test positive for COVID.
Yeah, I saw the illest shit today. It was like some reporter out in Florida, and she's sitting there reporting on how people are not social distancing and not using their mask with no fucking mask on. And I'm like, literally. And she was a national. That was like CNN. That wasn't a Florida-based news organization. That was CNN. I'm like, lady, you're tripping. Like, for real. Like,
they have the masks and then they pull them down to give their news report into the mic.
And a dirty ass mic just giving off mad COVID and shit.
Yeah. But so I think that's going to be the thing that, like, moving forward, like, I've been interested to see how Decentraland kind of, I guess, adjusts to people like moving back to somewhat of real life, even though we're saying like stuff's getting shut down. But I mean, all of us for like the better part of 2020 had nothing better to do than to sit inside and do like develop a lot of this stuff and go to all these events. And just from my own personal experience, I've had less time. So I'm trying to like notice if like there's a shift in activity from Discord or in world. And so far I haven't really noticed like numbers. I noticed like individual people who kind of drop off a little bit. But that's been like one of the things that's interested me is that how do we like shift now that people are kind of going back? Do people stick around or do they go back to normal? And so far I haven't noticed that much of a difference.
What I've noticed is
I was just going to say that you would be the best to judge, Anorak. You've been around since 2017, right? And like you be able to see like the amount of interaction that occurs in Discord versus, well, now that the world is out there, like the different activity that occurs based on like world events. Like as soon as crypto, the prices start going up, I think I start seeing a lot more activity in Discord and like Twitter and all kinds of places. But as soon as like crypto goes down, everybody, there's like this negative sentiment that propagates on like just everything. It's kind of
Well, everyone's scared to open their phone, right? They don't want to see their coin prices dropping, so they just avoid it altogether when it comes to the crypto stuff. But
I love it.
But yeah,
I'm like, buy.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the Discord communication has just changed. Like, I don't think, like, obviously there's upticks in activity, but it's the type of communication that's changed the most, from pure speculation and a bit more hostile communication from when the platform was trying to figure itself out, and now it's more of obviously you still have some of the negativity and stuff from people dropping in, but now I think it's more like connection and people like connecting with one another to do this or that, or look at what I did, or look at what I'm working on and stuff, and like
and also support what I'm working on. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's been real supportive of each other, because I think we all understand, all the people that's been working together or at least side by side. You know how hard this shit is, man. This shit is not easy. It's not, one, it's not easy to do it. Two, it's not easy to get people to come to it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like, you know, like today, I saw that Ty had only put like the picture up and he had no coordinates. All right, cool. Let's get a Twitter up for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is, you know, this is the community of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's like a couple, you know, I don't know how to say, you know, there's a couple angles to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can help. You got to help each other out. You have to. Yeah. It's just
little things like that, like you noticing that he didn't put coordinates. I mean, you know, I might have overlooked that. You know what I mean? But that's cool that you noticed that to actually implement that. So
Franky definitely took the lead there. I did the same thing because I saw Franky's tweet. So I was like, let's go. Let's get this train rolling. You know?
And, there was a lot of people at the Known Origin event, and you know, it was like, you know, this can easily get transferred. There's nothing taking away anything from Known Origin. But it was just, you know, Ty's been working on this shit for months, man. You know? Yeah. And I know he had like, you know, he had kind of like a launch thing he wanted. He didn't want everybody to be there on time, because if you were there for the beginning was sick. It was like you were talking about the pyrotechnics. That's how it all started. It was like, boom, pyrotechnics started. And it was like, bam, 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 all the lights. I was like, damn, this shit is crazy. Like, this is wild.
It was perfect, man.
Yeah.
Like, I actually, I texted that to like one of my homeboys who literally, all he does is like club and shit, like for like the last 10 years. And he's like, he was like blown away by that shit. But the first thing he said is like, when can I like VR into this type of thing? That was his first.
You know, it's gonna be a little bit.
Does he even have a VR, man?
Huh?
Does he even have a VR?
He doesn't.
You're asking that. Why is
I don't know, man.
People asking about VR? They don't have VR.
I don't know. I guess they assume like if you do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, like it's just gonna be a little bit cooler. You know what I mean? I don't know.
That's insane, man. And I know the DCL team, they get asked like constantly. It's on a weekly basis. Like, hey, when can I put on my VR headset? It's like, okay, 2%. Like this, let's calm that down first. There's still a lot more to build. We'll get the VR thing going, but damn, man, it's like, VR is cool. It's just, I don't know, man. I guess I don't get it.
Half of that is like a lot of these articles and tertiary parties that aren't necessarily involved in Decentraland but report on it. They call it a virtual reality world, or like a VR world, so that when we get new people in the Discord, that's what they expect. And it's like, it's the fault of a lot of these journalists that are not falsely advertising, but they just like haven't experienced the world, and they're just writing something to put some sort of content out without really knowing about it.
Well, also, wasn't that in some sort of like the white paper or something like that? Or like early stuff said it was going to be VR. So, I mean, I guess I can understand that. You know, I'm not trying to fault nobody for like wanting that, but if we were number one focus on VR, we'd still probably have like an avatar with like a cone and a head. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to understand, this stuff doesn't just do itself. You know what I'm saying?
We also have like 12 people that want to come into VR events all the time. Like, it's just more accessible to people right now.
Yeah. And it makes sense, because now you got people like us that can all work on our own projects, you know, push our own projects and do our own thing. And then, you know, I mean, VR comes after that, then it's like super immersive. Cool. You know?
Yeah. I think from a creator standpoint, there's more to it than just supporting VR, because they could do it pretty quickly just supporting VR. It's more about providing creators with the tools to be able to build something interactive in the virtual world.
Right
now, you'll be able to jump in a VR headset and you could look around, but that's about it. You could jump maybe, but that's it. Like there's no interactivity, and I think in
Grabbing
a virtual
stuff,
reality world,
hyperlinks, all this stuff. Yeah.
So it's more to it than just like supporting VR. It's like, how do we get creators to support VR but also build stuff for VR?
What's the difference? Like, is there an actual technical difference between, building what we're doing now and like a creator?
First of all, there's from a technical standpoint, you have to have a minimum 60 to 90 frames per second. 90 frames per second on something like Decentraland.
And there's more than 15 people in the room. Shit.
Yeah, you have to have like a super rig right now to do 90 frames per second.
Hey man, my shit was struggling during like I was roaming through the art stuff.
Yeah,
dude, my shit was struggling hard, dude.
Yeah, man.
And that's after like apparently they released some performance
update, and it's legit. Like the performance is better. It looks better. But man, when you get 70, 40 people on the screen or whatever, it legitimately is just tough,
Yeah.
And
imagine in VR. You take
like, for instance, people were having a hard time with a door that opened on a click today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like for me, I was having a hard time with that at one point. I had the two characters going and like I couldn't do it.
To where though? The club or the art gallery?
To the art gallery, just the way it was set up.
I couldn't even get in there.
Yeah. There you go.
I just gave up. I was like, whatever. I have to get in this place.
So it's definitely.
I'd love to get in. He says.
So what is it? Is it the cluster of the art and like the NFT displays that create all that, like, or is it actually the people?
I gotta imagine it was that.
Yeah, because
like
when I first started, I saw a lot of spinning circles on these NFT displays, like they were loading.
Yep.
Well, see, those NFT displays are calling an image on an IPFS, network.
Yeah.
And so it takes time to load, but once it loads, it's cached into your computer, and
a lot of those were GIFs. So think about it, it's a little bit extra.
Multiple frames, right?
Extra,
So it's interesting, like how they're even going to support VR unless it's a client, right? You have to download a client, then you can hook up your VR headset, and then you probably get the right performance you need.
There's been a lot of talk about that, at least in Discord lately.
Yeah.
It's
an important feature for sure. It's just you want to get creators involved. You don't want just to support VR and then not have any tools for creators to like leverage. That's the thing.
So what do you think about using a centralized, client essentially, but still keeping the whole foundation decentralized?
I think HP said it best, is that if let's say somebody creates the client and they charge X amount of dollars, let's say it's $10 to download on Apple and Android, right? $10 each. And it sounds like it would be centralized just because you have another team supporting the client, which technically, if you look at it, it's actually decentralized, that you're not depending on the Decentraland team to build it, and you're not always like, it's less centralized when other people are building the tools, right? The clients or whatever tool that gets created out there. So it becomes less centralized, even though the creation itself is centralized, but every creation is centralized.
The client itself, having a client literally means like whoever creates it is hosting all the data, right? Is that what a client is?
No. Client specifically, it's a download that runs, that you install on your computer. That's a client.
Okay,
so once it's installed, so what does that mean? So once you install an application on your computer, you are accessing the assets of your computer, such as your hard drive, your GPU, your CPU, and all that stuff. So now, browsers do support CPU acceleration, so hardware acceleration. That's why you're able to see Decentraland, because of the hardware acceleration. But when you download that application, now you're leveraging your GPU, and it puts less tax on your CPU, and therefore better performance.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
And so anybody could build this. We could build this, Iman. Anybody could build this. It's just, how do you sustain that? And, who's going to actually do it? That's the real question.
So from my understanding, then it's kind of like how Axie, they're using the Mavis hub. Is that a client then? Is that way to look at it?
I think so. Yeah.
So did you install this application?
Yeah. So you install Mavis, and then inside Mavis you would install Axie.
Yeah, they just switched that over recently too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I guess is that.
So who made Mavis?
I don't know.
Axie? No, they probably.
I don't think they did. I don't think they did.
You guys all ask questions. I never ask questions. I just like,
It'd be cool to know, though.
Yeah, it's actually that's an interesting question. It seems like Axie's like they're on the forefront of a lot of different things.
When they went to Mavis, and it might have even been like a month and a half back now, there's people that were commenting in their Discord like, "Oh, nice! Like now, Axie can reach this group of people and that." And it seemed to me, I didn't ask any questions. I was just reading the comments, but it seemed like it was a external like program or client or whatever that other people had already heard of, and Axie was on there now. So that's all the information I have on it. I just know that's where I played the game.
I was just having a thought, Anorak. You're gonna be one day like a NFT historian, man. Like, for real. Like you be like you just were around from the beginning. You know what I mean? So I feel like one day you just be like this old man, you know, and then it's like, let me tell you guys about the beginning of all this, you know.
Dude, for Axie, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm like, so I just I won money off my first tournament today.
Yes,
like,
you did, man. Congratulations on that too. Kicked my ass in the second round.
Play to earn.
Kicked my ass.
What place did you get?
$35. Third place.
Third place.
Nice. I lost. You play a set of 5 games in the semifinals, and I lost game 5. It was like one of the last moves. I lost game 5. So then I went and played for 3rd or 4th and got 3rd.
So I see you guys talking about this often. I haven't looked into Axie myself. I need to, because it's a game that I kind of fairly understand, like how it works in terms of like what different Axies are better than the others and so forth. But I'm curious as to where does the money come from? Do you have to stake some money in order to participate in the tournament?
No. It's I don't know where they got it from today. It was all sponsored. There was a thing on Battle DAO. And I don't know if Battle DAO put it up or not, but when you went on their website to register for the tournament, there is also a section where you can contribute to the prize pool, which was kind of cool.
Okay.
So they had 26,000 SLP.
Yeah.
And it was like maybe $200 total. I think first place walked away with like $68. And then kind of 68, 54, 36.
The thing is, though, with that SLP, you can do things, man. That's your currency there, because you can breed things, you know, and that's been like, if I'm not that good at the game, I'm a professional breeder right now. Like, I'm on some shit with my breeding. Yeah.
Will, you asked us this before. How does Axie get their money off the game and stuff? And I honestly don't know.
I think it's in the breeding process. There's fees to every time they breed, and if you bred of 150,000 Axies, and all of them you got 50 cents from, and I think there's
that SLP gets burnt though. I don't know if there's additional fees on top of it, but
there's fees on the breeding process. It's like 49 cents or something like that. It's not expensive. It's your gas fees that you're dealing with, when it comes to the user. But on their side, they get paid off of every single breed for sure.
Yeah, all I know is that I enjoy playing the game, and I'm starting to get good at it.
Yeah,
I don't really look into their finances and stuff.
Which, it's cool for me. I'm like, damn, I played pretty good against Anorak. Like, it's like one of those things.
Yeah, me and Franky matched up in the first round against each other just by chance.
Oh, I beat Chief today for my first time ever. That was another feat. Like, that's like beating Master Splinter,
Yeah, I got pretty nervous in the second game. So it was a best of 3 set, and I took the first 2. But I went in there way more cocky than I should have been.
You got to.
It was a good fight.
Walk with it.
But yeah, so I went right into that, right from the Axie stuff into the So You nightclub, and I was so just burnt out from 5 hours of Axie, and then just instantly stimulus right back up in the club.
Really, that brought an energy, man. That was crazy.
No, it was
I remember interviewing Ben from Axie GG, and he created this breeding engine and he showed us all this huge spreadsheet of the most optimal breeding of 2 Axies.
It's got to be what we use, the breeding calculator, Anorak, right? I don't necessarily. I don't use that so much anymore. I'm getting pretty good, man. I'm like freehand, those 2 right there. You know what I'm saying?
Eyeball it.
I don't even breed. I just go out and buy whatever Axie I want. I got
see the levels to the game
trying to breed to what I wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like a RNG, right?
What's that? Oh, random.
I think to an extent,
it's just like it works just like human genetics, where there's dominant and recessive traits, and you have a certain percent to get this or that. But there's only four axis traits that you're breeding towards.
There's 4 traits, but then there's 2 other traits that are not move sets, but they also count toward your pureness and like what your stats are going to be. So
and just aesthetics.
So if all the traits are the same, is that a good thing? Like the pureness? Does it even
the pureness
matter?
is what you're trying to get. If you're trying to like breed for money, like if you're trying to fight, it's a different thing. But I'm out here breeding for money. This is like you gotta understand. I got a whole team that I funded. It's not like I'm like, oh, these guys are just whatever. I funded every single one of these guys besides like the stuff that they've been going after. But everybody started a team. Was that
the original one? Does breeding the original pure one devalue that original axis?
Yeah, the reason being is because it's easier to like split off that way instead of like they have like the top stats for that category as well. But if you want to breed, like it's easier to take a pure and then like, okay, I want these moves, and then kind of breed it with something else that you have, and then you can like get it better. But if you're trying to breed too much, man, was that?
It costs more with each breed too. It costs more SLPs the more you breed it.
So it's 7 breeds total, and as you go up the ladder, it costs a lot more. So like purebred virgins are like, that shit.
Got it.
Damn, dude, you guys got deep into this shit, dude.
Yo, it was by necessity, just like everything else, man. By necessity. Because my guys, I knew all my friends are really good video gamers, so I wanted them to be involved with it. And so I got them involved with it and stuff. And like I said, I funded the project. But at the same time, I was like, I got to find me a hustle because that y'all know me. So, I did. And then I just went in and I've gotten pretty good at what I do. And I'm really specific. Like, I'm not breeding like everything. I'm just got these birds, man. I got a bird flock,
Yeah, I like understanding like the business models for all these game companies just because we have to stand on the shoulders of giants. If it works for them, it's going to work over here. And I don't know if you guys have played Pokemon Go, but they have a very similar battle system as well, maybe not similar, but it's alike to Axes. You get 3 Pokemon and then you battle another trainer and 3-on-3, right?
I believe Ethermon is similar enough as well.
Exactly.
Can we deploy yet?
I think by the end of this weekend you'll be able to deploy. So OpenNFT, I think maybe Studs, and then like 2 others will be able to deploy like within the next day or so. So what the deployment looks like is you'll get your Cobras show up on your land, and if you have a Chiari, he'll show up as well. So and you can get a Chiari on Ethermon's website, and it's free. So then you'll be able to take care of both of them, and then we're off to the races to build more content for Ethermon.
Nice. Yeah, that'll be exciting.
That's fun, man.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah, and the ultimate goal is to battle these things, right? You'll be able to battle them in Decentraland. You're going to see all the animations. You're going to see pretty much everything that you would hope to see in a game like this.
Does that arena already exist?
It does not exist. That's going to be like a later build, just because there's so much content to build beforehand that needs to happen before we start battling these things. So because animations, like, I don't know how much you guys know about animating like 3D models, but it takes a ton of work to animate like these. They say they have 200 different Ethermon. Yeah. And so imagine getting all those animated and make them work within Decentraland.
Exactly. And the thing with Ethermon is not like Axes, where Axes are all similar in bodies type.
Exactly.
Ethermons, they kind of like made it difficult on themselves to make all these different kind of styles of Ethermon, which is cool. But man, this is gonna be some.
I don't know. You guys should go to ethermon.io and just look at some of their evolved Ethermon. They're like these gigantic beasts that look really cool. So you'll eventually see those in Decentraland as like playable, like.
Pets. Oh, so that little Cobra right now is like a little baby.
It's a little baby, yes.
Oh, and he ends up growing horns and shit, and like wings and fangs or whatever.
Yeah. If you look up Cobras's evolution, it looks like this huge dragon.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I have to check it out, dude.
And so you'll be able to evolve him and all that stuff. So what does it take to evolve? So you have to go through level progression, and then you have to get to a certain point, and then you'll have the option to evolve them. And then so what that means is that I think you burn that NFT and you get it replaced with a new NFT, which is the evolved Ethermon.
Yeah, I checked it out like a month or two ago, maybe even longer than that, dude, when I really got into this, but then it kind of just faded off. But I'm going to really start getting back into it. Check it out.
Yeah, so hopefully, and you know, the Ethermon team is working real hard. They're going to make this into a deep game. Like, for example, eventually certain foods are more preferred by certain Ethermon, and then you get higher experience points based on the food that you get. Yeah, so it's like this whole deep game, and it takes a lot of effort, but it's getting there for sure.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really cool way to bring like the Asian world in, you know.
Oh yeah. So I joined WeChat a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
And it's like constant questions on like the progression of Ethermons, like, you know, where are we at? When can we deploy all that stuff? And they're definitely excited. So they're big on these like pet games and all this stuff. So they're definitely like a huge target market here for something like this.
Yeah, it's gonna
bring the daily active users up, I think, quite a bit, right?
I would think so too. Imagine like
there's like an exploration aspect, isn't there? Like if you don't want to be that guy who's spending all their money on this game, there's a freemium model, isn't there, Will?
For sure, absolutely. So so free food will spawn on different locations. You just have to go and find it.
Exactly.
And then eventually Ethermon will spawn that are catchable. And so you'll have like items to use to catch these Ethermon. And it's a completely like, it's a free to play game, right? Of course, to evolve faster, to progress faster. Yeah, there's, you know, it's easier to buy food versus, you know, go and look for food. So there's that, but this is a completely.
So essentially, like Ethermon team is creating like legitimate commodities in the metaverse.
Yes.
With these edible goods.
Yeah.
You know, because there's going to be actual demand for them because it's going to accelerate your progress in this game.
Yeah, they're also exploring ways to, or they're thinking about making the food into an ERC 1155 token.
1155, yeah.
And so that you can mine food and sell them, you know, on the open market.
Yeah.
So there's like so many things that, you know, they're thinking about that
I was going to say, can Red come in and just dominate without a dollar being spent by chance?
He probably could. He just has to really grind.
Yeah, I think this is something that would probably take a lot of time. I was about to say that.
It would take a lot of time. Yeah, it would require a lot of time to do that. Yeah. Because like if you look at, you'll see soon, once you get your Cobras, like he's spending energy and he has to go to sleep. But when he goes to sleep, like it takes 12 hours to regain that full bar. So there's like a throttle here in terms of like progression that just has to happen. Both good and bad in terms of like a player like Red Nitrous could like beat the game within a few hours if it was designed that way, but it's not. So it'll be some time before you have like a huge whale like dominating Ethermon. But yeah, man, and another thing to note is like there's an entire team working on the Ethermon experience, and I'm telling you, this shit is difficult to do. To make an entire game, it is not easy. I mean, think about it. It's like it takes a team. There's like whole aspects of like business models to consider, design elements, platform limitations, payments. You know, should they accept EMONT or ETH or just Mana? And then Ethermon team has already stood up their smart contracts a while ago. And so we're locked down to the limitations of their smart contracts. So in some transactions, you'll have to spend only EMONs. And others, you have to spend ETH. And then when you're interacting with the MetaZone aspect of Ethermon, you will spend Mana. So there's like a lot to consider when it comes to building something like this. So it's really important also, as one of the blog posts that we're going to write up with Iman here, is the whole economics of something like this, where you have to consider the landowners as part of the game. Up until now, I know we've talked about this in the past, up until now, this wasn't an issue before. You just made the game and you made the game mechanics of it, and you hope people come and play. But in this case, the open world is already here, whether there's Ethermon or not. So we have to involve landowners now, and you have to deploy the game to each of these landowners, and you have to give them an incentive to deploy. And so it's another element that creators have to consider when, doing something like this.
I have a question for you, Will. In the future, when you NFT the metas,
yep.
Felblob kind of brought something up like the Polkadot thing, where different payments can be taken, I guess, essentially to start paying for the metas, essentially through Wax or ETH or stuff like that. Is there a way to implement that before you essentially go through that final contract to?
So you're saying accepting different cryptocurrencies to purchase?
Yeah, besides Meta on MetaZone. Like, is that even a possibility?
Actually, yeah, we're considering. Yeah, absolutely. That's always going to be an option. And even we'll go a step further, is we're considering accepting fiat for some of this stuff. At least I give people the option to pay in fiat. There's implications to doing that, but even Boss was like considering doing that as well. So all this is being considered. I think the most important thing we want to do is make Decentraland progress, and we think mana is the way to do it. So that's another part of the consideration. So I mean, we want to make it easier for the user to like onboard, but we also want to encourage more interaction within Decentraland. So if we keep it in mana, it creates value, and therefore, a better for the community.
Yeah, because you get somebody in the mana, and then they start to understand what the value of it is, what you can do with it in world, and I think there's a definite value to your own business, just because you're encouraging people to kind of be a part of this economy.
Yeah. Another thing to consider is kind of the onboarding, like the average user, and you don't want them to start learning about blockchain and all that stuff to play the game, right? But I wonder if you need mana to interact with the world, say for example, you still need to get a wallet to a certain extent, and you still need to like transfer ETH and all that stuff. So unless Decentraland builds some sort of tool where you can go from fiat to mana, like in a quick transaction, I don't know if we're ever going to get to the point where it's easy to onboard somebody in the crypto world.
Well, I remember I bought my Garbage Pail Kids packs because I didn't have any wax, so I just used my card, right? So I was like, dude, this is. I didn't have to go through, really too much. And then when I wanted more wax, I went to Uniswap and figured that out. But when I told Frank, I was like, dude, buy them now. And I used my fucking credit card because I was like, I ain't even trying to figure this shit out.
I didn't think twice about it. I was half asleep. It was 5 a.m. I was like, done.
But just the onboarding of that, and I mean, I'll probably never use my card again to get wax, but essentially that's what got me onboarded with it. So I don't know if it might be a bad thing, I mean, if you got a guy that wants a meta and he's like, I have a debit card right here, you can maybe have a back-end way to convert that fiat into mana, at least for him, or at least on your end. He thinks he paid with his fiat.
Sure.
You end up getting mana, and then, he's still supported. Yeah.
I forgot the tool that Boss said, I forget the name, but he said that it's just the interface. They'll accept the credit card, and then you end up receiving mana on the back end.
Yeah.
That's how we would prefer to do it. So that makes a lot of sense. I like that. And that's probably what they were using, Open.
Yeah, it was real swift. I mean, I talked about it with Felblob, and it was he was picking my brain. I was like, whose interview is this? No, I'm just no, it was cool. It was a good one. But I was really intrigued by how easy they made it. So
yeah,
I know a lot of people talk shit about the EOS blockchain and a lot of stuff behind it, but as I said it before, as a layman in terms of just the buyer end,
sure, I don't
have any issues with it. So
yeah.
Dude, I was a diehard EOS fanboy in 2017. That was like the bulk of my holdings back then, just because the white paper said it solves the scalability issue, which it does, but it compensates, I guess, with the whole decentralization aspect of their blockchain. So I don't know how it's operating today, but I guess you're saying this.
I wonder what happened to them. They released Voice. I started using it, and it's no different than I guess a different blogging platform. It's not Twitter. It's not a blog. It's like a longer version of a tweet to a certain extent. I don't really understand it, but I'm not seeing like the value of it yet, I guess. And maybe I don't know. Have you guys looked into voice.com?
Nah, man. I don't know. I just like heard consistent negative things about it, and I just never looked into it.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
I think it's just because that team, Block One or whatever, they're never gonna get past the fact that they raised $4 billion and like this is all they've produced.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That's the problem.
Basically,
I don't know about that.
People are expecting, the second coming.
Honestly, I've been using Scent. I had Matthew on here, and we did an interview, and he onboarded me, and ever since then, I just kind of like use Scent, and it's fun. Yeah. It seems to be a lot of the people from this community and the general crypto community as well, and that seems to be pretty organic. So I've been using that as far as like touching crypto people,
Yeah, and I think ultimately these platforms like EOS and Scent, they're more about like owning your own data, and it's the difference between like posting on Facebook or Twitter is that if they go down, all the stuff that you created goes down with it. So I think that's the point. I don't know how much value that has to like the general user just yet, but man, we've seen so many hacks occur through Facebook, through all these like platforms that we use in the past, and still people aren't fed up enough to like go on the search for like a blockchain alternative where they do own their own stuff. So it's kind of weird.
You're talking about the mass public now at that point, so like the last person to catch on with things is the mass public like that,
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Let's see how that goes. Crazy. That was crazy to see. The advertisers pull advertisements from Facebook and their stock go down 8%, something like that on Friday. Yeah. That was wild.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's where you hit Facebook. You go after their advertisers.
Shit like an altcoin, man. This shit dropped 8%. I was like, damn.
Yeah, which I mean, everything dropped like at least 3%.
Yeah, but 8 in the regular stock market, man. That's altcoin business, that's like 25% in our side of things.
Coca-Cola announces they're pulling advertisements, like that's a pretty big headline. Even though someone's going to fill Coca-Cola's spot, like there's going to be some company that's more than happy to get in there now that there's an opening. But
why are they doing that?
Because Facebook apparently, according to these companies, is not filtering and monitoring hate speech enough on their platform.
Oh, man, yeah.
It's the current trend in the United States for those of you tuning in that aren't from the States, that all these brands are kind of severing ties with any type of wordage or any actions that are going against the Black Lives Matter movement, which rightfully so, but also like there's some stuff that is almost is insulting with how bad these companies feel like they're pandering to us, and they're not really doing anything, even though that they're putting out these empty statements and stuff like that, like Coca-Cola doing this with Facebook. Like they're not really doing anything to help, they're just saving their public image. But that's what's going on with Facebook stuff right now.
They're like PR moves essentially, right?
Yeah. I saw something with the athletics community that like these sports teams, like all of these sports teams are putting out these statements against seemingly against police brutality, yet none of the statements actually mention police brutality or Black Lives Matter. So it's all of this pandering, but still it's some sort of a shift,
Yeah.
I don't want to get too deep into it because my opinions don't really matter on it, but just trying to give people internationally an idea of what's going on in the States right now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's international, but it's also it's global as well. I mean, you had the whole world kind of protesting this. So I think you're right. I think a lot of companies, it's all about saving face and just acting like they care without really doing anything. But I mean, how much could they do? I mean, that's the other side, right? So, but yeah, man.
The money world works the way the money world works. So that's the thing about people. People always are getting into like the ins and outs, and like the reality is, those people with that much money is gonna do whatever makes money. They don't there is no like how do you call
remorse?
it? Nah, there's no like emotions about it. They just do what makes money, you know. You know, I grew up in a town that sells mad dope, right? Mad heroin. Grew up around a lot of people that sell mad dope, right? And like I did a lot of research on that subject in like my late 20s, early 30s, and I wrote a movie about it, and I'll probably release it when I'm like 60. You know what I'm saying? But like all that research has been confirmed over the years when I start to see experts talk about it and you know, in hindsight and stuff like that. I just saw a 60 Minutes piece on exactly what I was talking about. Like I got friends out here, they were valeting, right? And like, you know, it's like an entry level job, right? But they were seeing people from like doctors being taken out to dinner, you know, by people with lots of money. They just noticed it. And, you know, when I started talking about the subject, they're like, yeah, man, these fools be coming out, you know, to Capitol Grill all the time. Like, you know, and then sure enough, in that 60 Minutes episode, you can look at it, like 5 days ago, they're talking about Boston and out to dinner. You know what I mean? Like this stuff that I found out about, that I did the research on, just as a one single person, you know, those people don't have no, there's no conscience, man. Them dudes is, you know, and the lawyer in this piece talks about it being like, yo, these dudes are worse than the gangsters, you know?
Yeah.
So, money, you know, money's gonna do what money does, man. That's for real, and you know, there's no emotions behind it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's because the incentives, man. It's what matters to them, and so that's what they're gonna do.
Legitimate,
right? It's not really more.
They got into money because they cared about money.
You don't have to look past the NFL to understand that what they're doing with the
exactly, stuff. Man, dude. Colin Kaepernick was talking about this for years.
Yeah, now you know the thing about I don't know, man. I got like whole thing with Colin Kaepernick, man. I always felt like he was just at the same time like yes, but at the same time it felt like here's the thing. I said it. We'll talk to you guys about it maybe a week or two ago. Like a lot of the people who make the biggest noise about this don't do crimes though. They don't actually have these experiences. So I don't know. I always take it with a grain of salt from somebody who come from the streets like that. Like, man, you know what you're getting into. You know, you look at this world for what it is. You know, look at it like for what it's supposed to be. I mean, yes, there's an angle of that, but you can't just go out and like put yourself in a spot to represent everybody else. Like it's a little bit like arrogant. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I see where you're coming from with that, Frankie. Yeah. I think you're pretty much right. I mean, when you do that kind of stuff, you should expect equal and opposite retaliation, like from the top standpoint. But to that respect, a lot of the people that are going through this stuff are like
the innocent people,
innocent regular people, right? Yeah. So I think that's really where
But it's like to me, it's like a naive way of looking at things. Like again, like my father, you know, dealt with the real KKK. You know what I'm saying? Like really physically fought them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not going out into the woods and then being like, why did this happen to me? Like, motherfucker, because you're in the woods, dog. Like, come on, man. Okay?
Yeah.
You know what you like. You gotta know. You gotta look around, man. Understand your surroundings, man. Don't get mad at your own self for not being aware. You know, other people for your unawareness. You know. There we go.
There's certainly a lot of people responsible. I mean, it's not only the cops, but I mean, people just have to be careful. Cops deal with a bunch of assholes all the time. You just have to be respectful, even though the cop may not be. I mean,
that's the thing.
Don't get me started on the
with all this divisive talk, though, you know what I'm saying? What I'm saying though, now with all the divisive talk, what happens is both sides are now inflamed.
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
That's right.
And now everybody is real quick. You know what I mean? I was joking, but not joking. You know what I mean? Like, come September time, when everybody starts to get regular sick, then you're gonna start to see people like the people who are not wearing masks now and then like aggressively not wearing masks are also going to be the same people aggressively now flipping out when somebody coughs in the street or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's going to be like people beating down zombies and shit like that. Like, he's got it. With the pitchforks and shit. You know what I mean? This world is a mess. You know what I mean? You got to understand what it is.
Did you see that Trendsetter video?
Nah. I don't know what that is.
Trendsetter?
Yeah, there was a guy. He's like, it's hard being a trendsetter, and it was like about a mask. It was fucking hilarious. Anyway, sorry.
One of those viral videos, I guess.
Yeah, it was funny. It's like a white guy. You'll find it if you go on Twitter.
Yeah,
type in trendsetter.
I'll take a look.
You're saying something, Anorak?
Yeah. Sure.
Oh, I just said everything's going to get a lot worse now that we're just nearing the election. Like, it's just going to get more polarizing.
That's true, man.
Oh, I know. That's the thing is like by the time November comes around, man, pitchforks and torches, man,
It's
for real.
That's what equally
Stay
confusing.
inside.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. Like, keep working on Decentraland, man. Just keep doing my thing, man.
You know, that's confusing. Like, equally as I'm confused about people thinking that COVID is some conspiracy theory or whatever, there are people who think like Trump is doing a good job. Like, to me, that's so weird to me that people actually believe that.
I believe it's the same people. I believe those are the same people.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think they're the same people.
But man, the world that we see is completely different than the world others see. That's so like interesting and shocking to me.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, there's always gonna be. You gotta remember, a lot of people like their ego stroked, man. So, you know, you got a guy out there stroking the ego of some you know, a demographic of people. The dude didn't get in there by mistake. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, you know, he's stroking the ego of the people that want their ego stroked, and they'll have their ego stroked the way they like. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
You know what?
Man.
You know what is funny to me, which moving forward is going to be not a problem, but it's going to be funny to see people figure that out. It's like I've seen like when like someone named Donald Trump is in Decentraland, like that avatar. I've seen people like comment like, "Wait a second." Why is that actually so and so? Like, no, come on now.
I love like in the club, there was important person.
That's me. That's me. Important Franky, people. Yeah. That's me, dog. I'm the important people. I'm Mr. Important People. Hey, I was renamed today, Mr. Important People, man. They don't know about me.
Yeah. No, I'm serious. There was someone said important person.
Yeah. You standing right next to me.
That's Franky, right next to
me. Yeah, that's me.
Oh shit.
I'm Mr. Important People, man. I know all the important people, man.
First burner.
You can go back in general chat and go check out the origins of important people, man. It's a great, it was a great banter, and I'm glad that it was cool after that. You know what I mean? That's the one thing I would say, like straight up and down. Like, I like talking my shit, like always. You guys know me well at this point. I love talking shit, but at the same time, I don't want things to be this huge rift in our community and have nonsense back in our general chat. So I'm glad that it was cool after that. And the guy who got into the banter with me, he was in the club. He was here earlier, Jeffrey. So it's cool, man. It's like, you know, I like to have fun. You know what I mean? I like talking shit. I always have my friends' backs. But at the same time, I want this community to be healthy. So it's not healthy to continue things to death. You know what I mean? So it's
I typically don't respond to stuff like that, but I like to set the record straight, and
for sure,
so I have to chime in. Man. I have to chime in. Was like, why don't people ask? Well, why are the fees this way? Like, what is it that I don't understand that makes the fees be the way that they are? Why isn't that the question? Right? Why is it the fees are just automatically too high? It's like it's different. Like this platform, MetaZone, is completely different than OpenSea. OpenSea,
right?
Moon Origin. All these NFT, user-generated NFTs, they're dealing with 40-year-old standards called JPEGs, PNGs, and GIFs. It's not the same when we're trying to make metas into NFTs. Our metas are not, they're not JPEGs, right? These are not pictures, they're not GIFs. So trying to create that user-generated NFT is not like the easiest thing to do.
You know, the thing is, for me, is like it's about how you approach a person. You know, you got to approach them like a person and not like a message board. You know, especially in our Discord, we're all like we're people, man. We're all legitimate people, and we get on the bunch of us get on here every week, and we talk about things. So, you know, that's why I'm always saying like we're very accessible, homie. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not the other side of a message board. You know what I mean? So that's what I was trying to get across. That this is a community. You know, these are people, and we all kind of like, I don't know, talk to each other. You know, coexist.
What did I miss?
Just somebody. It was like somebody upset with Will about his practices, his business practices, but just coming at him in a wrong way. And then so I started coming at that person in a different way as well. And then we made light. We made friends, and it's over. And that's the way I would say about that. You know what I mean? I don't want this to be a huge rift. It's like,
got it.
You know, we made it fun, and then now I got an extra avatar. You know, cool. So it's cool.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. No, I was looking through. I'm like, all right, I didn't see shit.
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah, it's well, it happened earlier today, but it's interesting. You know, the stuff that if you look at our Discord and you see like comments like, "Hey, this isn't working. Hey, that isn't working." Man, we like swarm the guys like, and we help them like almost immediately. Like even at 2:00 in the morning, we're helping people. So it's just not the same. OpenSea is not helping people because they're not deploying anything complicated, right? It's a PNG, it's a JPEG. Like,
it goes up,
nothing,
it's up. Yep.
There's nothing that complicated about what they're doing.
Yeah.
So and that's why there's so many competitors. You know, you could find 10 user-generated NFT sites right now, 10 of them, and what are they all dealing with? JPEGs, PNGs, and GIFs. It's just, you know, which flavor do you like? You know, this is completely different. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I broke my video screen meta about 10 minutes into getting it the other night, and Will fixed it for me like 15 minutes after.
Oh, the coding and stuff? Or what?
Yeah, I deleted a bunch of the code.
You take a picture of it, dude, right when you get it, like with
your
phone.
After that, I caught it. I was able to mess around with it a little bit more. But
you know what? Maybe Corv can throw in, dude, is like a reset.
Yeah, that's a good point. Dude, there's so many things that we could be doing, like in terms of like making it better. Like for example, that code that you're seeing, Anorak, that shouldn't even be there. You shouldn't be able to see that code at all. It should be a cleaner user interface that you just manipulate with like drop down menus and all that stuff, and then there you go. You drop in your source stream, and that's it.
Source,
but the reason you're seeing that is because we build everything in an MVP. We want to make sure that people use it, they want to use it, and they're deploying it and all that stuff before we spend more resources on making it like better. It's just how we do things for now, just because of our limited, you know, human resources, if you will.
And that's what I was explaining in the early post. I said, you know, these guys have been community members since day one. You know, I didn't go the extra step to say that you guys have been completely open or whatever, like, you know, transparent about everything that y'all have done, you know. But at the same time, it's like we all know y'all. Basically, is what I was trying to explain. Like, we all know y'all. Literally, you can catch these guys every week at 10 p.m. UTC, live with me, and then a recap of it, like, on my YouTube channel. And you can go back and take a look at it, you know.
You can go back on our YouTube channel
even further, even further with you guys,
You can literally witness the moment where we thought of it on the podcast.
For real,
literally.
Yeah, I believe I watched that
it's all
episode before I even knew you guys, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't take it offense, like when people talk about our predatory fees or anything like that. It's because they don't understand. And if they did, they wouldn't be so worried. And if it didn't work, you wouldn't have creators on the platform making stuff. And because it works, it'd be like, you should think, hey, you know, what are they doing right, and how can I make their stuff better? Right? If I'm gonna,
like, I know that, like, you know, I make metas, you know, and you know, not me just personally. I got, you know, me and Catherine and Fran. But, you know, it makes us happy. You know, it's like a way. It's not the only way. It's not my only project, you know, but it's a thing. I enjoy the service. You know, Corv helps us out tremendously on the back end. You know,
dude, the hoverboard, as soon as it was deployed, man, there were like 50 people that bought it.
Yeah, like, I think I got 12 out of it right now. Yeah, I'm still yet to ride one, man. I went searching through the world the other day looking for a deployed version, and like it's like no one has one out. Or if they do, I can't find it.
Yeah, there's a few people.
I couldn't find it, man. I was out there looking. I'm looking at people's houses, looking and stuff, going inside. You know, like it was hilarious.
Yeah, it's interesting. Now, once you can make the hoverboard into a wearable, dude.
Matty was talking about that the other day.
Yeah,
like, yo, oh man, flying through the streets. Like,
dude.
Yes.
For the.
Go ahead, man.
Sorry, guys. What's happening?
What's up, Matty?
What's up, Matty?
Yo.
What is up? Good to see you all. Obviously, I missed out on a lot. I'm looking at the events Discord channel, and it's going off.
Oh, man.
I missed the Samu club. Must have been sick.
The
you gotta go to the club.
Matty, sick in there. Like,
it looks awesome.
Yeah.
Those guys are very talented. That's Tay. What's it? Pablo?
Ty, Aeon, and another guy named
Aeon. Yeah.
Dr. I'm gonna get his name wrong, but Dr. something.
Gaioff, something like that.
Exactly. Yep, Dr. Gaioff or something like that.
Yeah, they make some really visually stunning things. They were the ones also behind that little mini game, right? With the mana coins and stuff you collect.
Mana Fever?
That's Pablo S.
Pablo S.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
They had that So You building there since the scavenger hunt. They had the escape room there, which that building, like in February, even though there was nothing, I mean, not nothing inside of it, the escape room was there, but that building was damn impressive for February.
Hell yeah. That little drone that interacted with you all year round.
The elevator thing has inspired me thoroughly, about being able to have a build that has multiple scenes on it, if you will. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I mean, if they just built that, I feel like I would have been inspired. That shit today was dumb. Like
we should hold a bunch of
conferences there. We should do all kinds of shit there, man. You gotta go in there and see what's going on. Like that shit is live as hell, man.
Well, it's cool because it's like the top floor. Like it's not just the building. Like it's a segment of the building. So you could hold a conference on like the bottom, like the basement or something.
Yeah, and then something like the mid-event could be them just flashing on the like some music for 5 minutes or something.
Yeah. Couldn't they just turn off the lights essentially and put a screen up, and then have like a meeting and then have like a dance thing afterwards or something?
Yeah, we can do a live screen thing up there too. Like there's so much use case for what they got going on in there. It's just like I was blown away. I've been talking to Ty about this thing for a while, and he's been like, "Yo, when you see what we did, and this is like months ago, when you see what we did, Franky, like this thing is crazy." And I believe you, but I don't even know what to expect. And when I got in there, man, my whole brain exploded. I was just like, this is awesome. The coordination of the music and the visuals was just unreal. It was crazy.
What I'm realizing is with DCL, there's event holders and then there's people that build venues.
Exactly.
So you gotta just, if you want to be a venue builder and you make cool venues, you build them as event organizers and stuff. We can bring events together. They be conferences, meetups of any time. We should move them around because it brings value to both people, right? It brings value and awareness to the venue builders, which are obviously way more talented than I'd ever be. So.
Exactly. Like I can maybe tinker around, but if those guys had control of what I was doing, then my stuff would look better. That's for sure. So.
And they don't need a whole lot of stuff to like support like a presentation, right? Just like a video screen.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah, video screening, you're good. I mean, in so many words, video screening, you're pretty good. So.
We're so early at this too, and it's so good. I can't imagine like a year from now how that's gonna be, dude.
I'm excited for that time.
Yeah,
definitely.
Cool.
August keeps dropping some really cool things to look forward to. I reckon he's on the ball, man. Every time I tell him, hey man, I want to make sure we have this and that. The other day I was telling him about Mozilla Hubs, because Mozilla Hubs is like one click on mobile and you're in the scene and it looks sick.
Yeah, you should.
And it has so many features. And he's like, oh, we hold meetings here. I run it with some friends. I know, I'm pretty aware of what's happening there, and those features make sense when we go VR. But it's just he's in the know with all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And even with the customizable robots or the non-human avatars.
You see, I posted like a screenshot of a conversation with Augustine, and he was responding to somebody. Oh, Spaced Painter.
Avatars.
The user-generated avatars that are not humanoid, right? So you can imagine your avatar could be a dragon or something else.
That's such a big deal, dude.
Yeah,
such a big deal. That's one thing I was thinking about Decentraland. I thought it was going to be limited in that sense. Like they were going to just choose things that were good, what they thought was good for the community. And then I was looking at this VR world and space, and I was like, oh, there's customizable avatars, there's VR, there's voice chat. Like, are they going to follow this route, or are they going to do their own thing?
See, dude, how is that going to change the wearables market, though?
Yeah, good question, man.
Pretty weird.
I think they may have like a base body, and then you can customize the head, the whole headpiece, not just the mask, and then maybe the arms and the
I see. So you can have like a dragon head, but still be like a human.
I think that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think that you might even be able to go another step further than that, and just have a completely different like skeleton, and then
But then
for that piece, like like dragons don't wear people clothes.
So you're saying you would have wearables for dragons, like for your own?
If they want to wear shirts.
Matty, do you remember 1029?
Sorry, Anorak?
Do you remember the user 1029 Chris?
Yeah, and he with the duck.
Yeah, me and him were just having a discussion debate type thing about this maybe last week or the week before, about how he wants, like, obviously wants VR because he's really big on VR, but then he was one of the people who was like the most passionate about being able to customize his avatar. He didn't want like male or female. He wanted to be like that.
He wanted to be that duck, right? Yeah, he loves that duck head.
It's crazy that like, not crazy, but crazy to me that there's people out there that like that's what they want in a metaverse world, and if they can't be a duck, then they don't want to be a part of it. Like that's absolutely to me. But it's I guess it's just cool or different that there's people out there that like that's what they want, and if they can't get that, then that coupled with some other things, then they're just okay. Well, I'm just gonna move on to the world where I can do what I want with my avatar.
Listen, I'm cool with that, but I'm gonna keep doing what we do. You know what I mean? I can't like,
of course, but
you know, in my brain, I'm like catering to everybody in the world ever. That's like chasing your tail. I mean, you do what you can.
It depends how much of the community they represent. So, for example, you know, like this guy, he's probably from VR chat, and you know, you look at that place, it's buzzing with just random things that you look at, and you're like, what the hell? Why is there some mini? I don't know.
But I mean, if that was the case, I said this to one guy one time. Like, if that was the case, we'd be doing what old people wanted. We'd be doing what, you know, these people wanted, what that people wanted. Like we gotta just do what we do. You know what I mean? And yes, like try to like broaden our things, but little by little. It's not like you can like, you know, you know, you literally, because you'll be chasing your tail. It's, you know, it's like, to me, it's like chasing after money. Like, you're like, oh, you got money, you got money, you got money. It's like, nah, man, just do what DCL do, and then we'll be, as we go, we bring more people in. You know?
I think Decentraland understand that really well, though.
What's this?
So they just push what they need to push, and they're just like, yeah, we're gonna do that. We'll get to it when we get.
Yeah, they know that, because you know, again, like, you know, we talked about it in the past, like, where it's like, I kind of lost train of thought, but I lost train of thought there. I'm sorry.
No, but my point with that isn't that we should cater to people that want to be a duck. It's just crazy to me that there's like a target market out there that's what they want. There's just so many different like little niches to this stuff that, like, Decentraland's not hitting. They don't have to, but it's still crazy. Like everyone out there wants their own little thing, and like customizable avatars at some point might bring in a new group of people. Like we don't have to totally change the game, but there's still people out there that like want that stuff, which to me is just interesting. I never like considered that it's, you know, all in or not if you can't be a purple duck.
I wouldn't have guessed that either. If you were pitching this to like an investor, it's like, hey, I want to make a world where anybody can be anything that they want, that wouldn't be like a selling point, but it is important to like allow them to make their own avatar. I think that's a good idea. I just don't know like what the implications of that is really, like in terms of.
If you think about, it is really interesting. But if you think about Decentraland and what they want to achieve in terms of how they get monetized, it's a buzzing marketplace. Anything that can sell in the marketplace, they're in for. So anything that provides solutions for community members and gets the marketplace going a little bit further. It makes sense. So the avatar things make sense, but your question in terms of how the wearables are going to tie in and what the value proposition is going to be for wearables if everyone can do customized avatars.
What about what Talk Sam is doing with like the you know
might just
crossbreed of stuff.
Yeah, it might just be that like those customizable avatar parts are just wearables, just like you see in crypto boxes.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Like,
people have like those crazy, like they don't look like crypto boxes avatars, and they're totally different, but it's considered wearables. So maybe like to have a dragon body, it's just like to have an astronaut spacesuit right now.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
You just got to buy the wearables to put it all together, and there you go.
Or like the hazmat suit. The hazmat suit is all one suit. So if a dragon body was all one suit with now in like a new skeleton, who cares, huh?
Yeah, like what if I could walk around with a giant dragon head, but then everything else is just like me in khaki shorts and flip flops for my avatar? Like,
I mean, that's 100% doable. Like that would just make the wearables still have value, because if someone wants to be a human, they can just mix their human head with the dragon body or something.
Yeah, the avatar is the wearable, so yeah.
Yeah, it's such a minor part of the stuff, but yeah, I mean, you could just hit different markets with doing that.
I think it's a big thing.
Interesting stuff open.
I think anything that adds like a WTF factor to Decentraland is where you're going to see that social buzz, really.
Yeah, it's like when that launch happened and the rocket came out of the ground. I mean, that was like that was a good surprise, man. I was like pleasantly surprised. I was so happy I was there.
So envious. I'm so envious. I wasn't able to be there.
Yeah.
Good thing you caught it on video. Anorak, I think you did.
Iman got it. I know. I think Anorak got it too.
Yeah, Anorak and Iman. Yeah.
What's happening, Iman? I haven't heard from you much.
Yeah, we
like the last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I've been out of commission for like a week, but I'm back in, man. Right at the perfect
in a room and then social media.
Right at the perfect time when everything's starting to popping off. You know, this is like.
Did you miss all of Art Week?
I pretty much did. Like today was the first day I started exploring. I was talking to everyone earlier about it. Like, I mean, to me it was kind of like a lag fest, but I still got a chance to check everything out, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I Matty, I'm upset you missed the club, man, because it was really cool. It was sick. Like straight up. I'm like Franky, man. I still have that in my head.
Yeah.
Like I think there's some serious like a month ago we were talking about how cool that Travis Scott concert was on Fortnite. I think that was like borderline potentially could be something like that in the future. Yeah. Well, as far as like the venue,
a moving avatar with that mimics or mimes the words.
Oh no, he had the DJ moving around. It was sick. You have to go in there, man.
The ambiance and the environment was there. I mean, what else could he have added to create like more immersion? I don't know.
With the current structure, that was epic. You know what I'm saying?
I think that was it. I think that hit it for me. You know, I felt immersed. Like literally, when I was in there, I was like, man, I want to go and do this for real.
So he could maybe have like he could maybe even do that POAP thing or POAP, however you want to call that thing.
Yeah.
I'm looking on OpenSea right now, and one sold for like $17 for the Genesis Plaza coin, I guess you want to call it. I don't know. So those things, that's cool. I mean,
what does the POAP stand for? Proof of attendance, right?
Yeah,
protocol. Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting. We're seeing like new models of NFT value propositions. Like you have to do some kind of task in order to get this mint.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised people are going and claiming them. Like people want to collect so badly that they're actually going in for them.
Yeah. Even with these current gas prices, right?
Yeah.
Like
it's like $2.
I gave up
$2.40.
One difficult thing. I'm like, I'm out of here.
But they're doing it because they're thinking a lot of other people won't do it, right? So there's value in that, in the sense that the scarcity comes from the work that they have to put in, coming every single day, attending each of these events.
There's only 159 of these.
Yeah,
that's it.
What do you get from them? Like, I know that there's.
If you get all 10, there's some sort of like crypto art at the end of it.
It's a what? It's a NFT?
I think it's a crypto art. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna sell all 10 of them. Once I have all 10, I'm gonna sell them as a pack.
Yeah.
Well, because then I saw.
It's a good idea, dude.
I saw like Steve Wand jumped in the Decentraland Discord and asked if someone had.
Did he?
Number 2 or number 3, and I've never seen him in the Decentraland Discord before.
Well, he loves crypto art. There's a huge community for
thing.
For
like there's like, and then so I saw him jump in, and I was like, well, wait 1 second, maybe I should be collecting these.
And you got to remember, one has like Josie on the front, one has Toon Punk's art on the front. I mean, one has whatever the super rare one I think is the best. Jonesy, not Josie, but Jonesy. And
so there was one day where the gas to get it was like $4.75, and I was like,
I've seen $7.
And then since then I just haven't collected them, so I was like, well, I missed the one.
I missed day one. I've been like in some of these events and I miss them. I'm just like, I don't know. I'm weird about contests. I'm like, I'm good with a contest. I'll keep working. I just always do. I just kind of like go like that. I don't know. That's what it is.
Yeah. I thought it was cool because I think of it almost
I think it's
like
great for the
NFT NYC, I think it's called, right? See if they end up having this, if you show up digitally, you know, you get a proof of attendance protocol, and then maybe you get a physical one. You know, if you have
they could do this for all different types of like blockchain conferences or whatever.
Wait, like this, you keep saying they, but it's anybody. This is open source, so
people can use. You can use that.
And then I guess somebody creates like a
make
master
a roundtable one, dude.
Yeah. For all the people that attend every week.
Collect all of them in a month, and that's actually a good idea. Look at Matty going to work. You can see
his brain's like.
It really is. If you think about it, it has a lot of meaning because it represents you being at a certain event. And if that event was a really cool one, for example, Decentraland launch, if you have the T-shirt, it represents that you were there, right?
And honestly, Matty, that's what I was kind of trying to do with the CryptFest thing, the NFTs I was talking to you about before. That was the general concept. It wasn't exactly or whatever, but it was definitely the general concept.
Yeah, that makes sense, man.
Yeah. I think we should seriously consider doing that, just because it provides that value. It gives another incentive for people to show up, and like it just helps the community, really.
Yeah, that's a really that's a good idea. Trying to incorporate that into this.
Yeah, anything that integrates any other project within Decentraland is great.
Yeah,
like Bullienix, we're integrating them to be gold-backed rewards for our.
They got some big stuff. I referred them some stupid good artists, dude. They're gonna come up with some crazy good shit. So stay tuned for that.
You know, they're actually their PR is actually done in China. So a lot of their marketing happens in China. It's like a China-Singapore built company. I think that's where they ran the ICO. So one of the guys got me in touch with the marketing team in China, and they want to know what's happening in the soccer tournament. So once the trailer drops, hopefully they can write an article, and hopefully we can get them involved in China, in Dragon City District somehow. So.
Dude, they seem like such a perfect partner for the soccer tournament. Like a gold-backed trophy NFT. Like that seems like such a perfect thing for the soccer.
Man. Has anybody figured out yet how the gold-back thing works? Like, as far as if they have reserves or what?
I've minted a few of them.
That's all that matters, right?
Yeah, I know. That's my biggest question with it too.
The NFT part being gold-backed is complicated, but the currency is gold-backed. Basically, 1 DGX is 1 gram of gold, and you can use that DGX to mint these NFTs. So you can melt the NFT if you want to get the value of the gold that you put in, to get that base value back if you want, or that NFT can just exist and you know that it has that base value. You can mint it. You can melt it back anytime.
Okay, cool.
It's a cool idea.
Yeah, I want to talk to them. I want to dig in their brain so bad. I want
to talk to them as well. I told them the guy came in the neighborhood chat, and I'm like, "What up? You want to do an interview?" I was like,
"Jesse? Was it Jesse?"
I have no clue who it was, man. I just I just go right in.
Hey, he's a cool guy, man.
Hey, what's
I don't know, Golden Cross. I don't know what that is. So.
Yeah, that's Jess.
I love how you guys are doing this, by the way. The interviews and stuff, OpenNFT and Franky obviously killing it.
Well, Open invited me to his platform, so that was what that was. I'm always just trying to be involved in anything I can be, so that was cool.
But anything reaching out to other community members or projects and getting them involved in the know, that's so valuable. Very, very good.
Yeah. Right now we're having issues with our screen here, and we did an extensive troubleshoot, me and Matty, the other day, and I was feeling a lot more confident, and again we ran into similar issues again today with the screen.
Oh, no.
Where's it broadcasting today?
I'm in Gamers Hub, and I'm in obviously in Decentraland in my
56.
Okay. Got it.
But I think it has a lot to do when we have a lot of people on the map, man. I think there's something about that which is disconcerting because we're trying to throw events with lots of people on the map. That's the point, So it's definitely it's one of those things.
It is concerning, especially with the soccer tournament around the corner. I have 3 conferences next week.
Exactly.
Everyone's locked in.
Yeah. And it's you're right, Matty. We might have to start thinking about going back to audio or going a little bit backwards, because I can always release this as a YouTube video and stuff, but it's not the same immersion, It's tough.
Yeah.
Luckily enough, Toon's here and Taco's here earlier to experience it, so hopefully They understand that it's going on, but I don't know what the ins and outs of fixing it is. I wish I did. When you got HP stumped, then it's going to be hard.
We don't have any hope.
Yeah.
What was that, Will?
I was just asking if the video is it happening to everybody, or is it just?
Yeah, I had a little conversation with MK, and if it's happening to MK, it's happening to everybody.
Okay, all right.
He's been. Anytime there's something going on, like he never has that issue. He has it less than anybody else I've noticed, and I even had it working on my Brave better than my Chrome for some reason, and then now it's just frozen on my Brave, and again.
So what's the issue? It basically freezes at a random time and doesn't reconnect unless you refresh.
Like something about a package. I know it's something about a package.
But in terms of the viewer, what is the experience?
It freezes up, and then sometimes you can refresh and come back. This time, apparently, what happened today was you refreshed and it came back to a white screen. So,
I'm also seeing a white screen. So
I saw a lot of screens in a lot of these like art buildings, the new ones that just popped up this week. Are these the screens you guys are talking about, or are these like?
No, he's talking about the video screen on his
video stream
building
in the building.
Like I saw. Like in, I think maybe Midbase or Pixel Chain's building, they had a big giant ass screen, and there was nothing.
So we did one in Pixel Chain that worked really well. We did a really good stream over there.
I had a feeling that's what that was for.
Yeah, but and the mixed Midbase one was a static video that seemed to work for the most part. And then as we go along, there was a lot of people on the map today, like between the people at Known Origin and the people at SoU. So they weren't maybe all here, but they were on the map, and that seems to be a definite factor. I don't 100% don't know what is the ins and outs. I wish I was technical enough, but even, again, when you have a long troubleshoot, like, I don't know how long, it was like, what, Matty, an hour and a half we were with HP? A good amount of time, and he couldn't really wrap his head around it. And, he had a general idea, but like I don't know what else there is to do. We were dropping off for AWS.
But I think we concluded that it was a DCL issue. It wasn't
absolutely
our issue. We tried a few different things, and then
And Toon is completely he knows about it. I talked to him about it right after that. But it's something.
I reckon it's one of those stop everything and fix it kind of.
That's what I'm saying. It needs to get fixed, man. Like
because like every event almost depends on video at some point. Yeah. Almost.
Well, because once you deploy it, once you put it out as an option, it needs to be an option that works now. Because we were running around. Okay, we're limited to audio. We were doing that, and then now we got video, and it's something that we've integrated into our business or our plans and stuff. So it's like it's weird. It's one of these things. Kind of has.
Did anyone else here get TikTok, by the way? I know it's a stupid ass question.
I left that alone.
I got TikTok for Decentraland stuff. Apparently a lot of business people there.
Yeah.
I put a few hashtags out there. My first video got like 500 views.
I saw that.
Holy shit.
That's actually absurd, dude.
Yeah.
I don't understand that at all. Just from the hashtag alone, what did you hashtag?
Yeah.
Sorry? What was that?
What did you hashtag?
Just like blockchain, cryptocurrency, that sort of Ethereum, Bitcoin, all that stuff. Pretty much put like 7, maybe 10 hashtags. I was totally just testing it out. You know what the cool thing about TikTok is? Freaking so smart, man. So what you can do is if you have a picture or a video that you've taken, you can put that as your background, take a selfie, and that like a green screen. You don't have a green screen, but it pretty much works just like a green screen. And you can have that playing in the background on your phone while you're taking a selfie.
When you say selfie, like recording yourself talking, or just to take a picture of yourself?
No, recording yourself talking.
Oh, I see. Cool.
So my video was like, hey guys, the skateboard meta has been released, and it was like a 15-second video, and it had the hoverboard playing in the background.
Oh, cool.
So think about like the ease of doing it. The ease of doing it is amazing, and you can literally cover anything you want.
Can you hyperlink them in? Is that how do you or?
Hyperlinking, I don't think you can do, but you can put like text in the front, and I don't know. I don't think you can hyperlink people in.
Can you then copy paste that link to your TikTok on Twitter? Like, can you use that video tech to put onto Twitter then, and just use TikTok as like the recording tech, and then throw that onto it?
I haven't tried it, man. I haven't tried it. I've
seen TikTok on videos on Twitter for sure. Yeah, 100%.
Is it kind of like Snapchat where like it disappears after a while, or it stays?
No, it stays there.
They must be downloading it maybe and just uploading it onto Twitter. You know what I mean?
I think that's what you've seen on Twitter.
We all sound like a bunch of grandpas.
Yeah, dude.
Right?
Yeah.
We need some Zoomers in this chat for sure.
Yeah.
Where's Red Nitrous when you need them?
For real.
But I'm curious I think we should actually bring anyone to Decentraland.
What's that?
Yeah.
I mean, Matty, it was hilarious.
Yeah, definitely.
It was hilarious to see, like, whatever your TikTok profile is, 2 followers, video, 400 views.
I know.
That's what I'm saying. That's absurd. It's crazy.
Because it's like random. It's not the same thing. Like you only see your followers. It's like random videos come up on your feed like all the time. You know?
But this is the time to get in, man, because there's like some handful of like crypto people there with like 20, 30,000 followers. Not many. Yeah. But if the platform does go big places, these are the ones that are going to be like the authority, because they started on a platform very new in this niche that no one else thought was possible.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't know. I heard that was more of like a data collection thing. I really, man, I have a real hard time with TikTok. Yeah.
I keep waiting.
Look, man, I was totally not into it until my wife showed me this dude, and he's been posting about blockchain stuff. And his most recent video, this is what got me to the tipping point, was about Decentraland.
Oh, okay.
So he had like 30,000 followers, and his most recent video.
Wait a minute, that's my thing. Like,
yeah, I was like, what?
Who's this guy think he is?
I found him on Twitter. I messaged him, and I was like, hey, man.
You messaged him? Hold up, back up, homie. Back up, homie. This is what I do. Yeah. All right, guys. I think we should probably cut the stream here. It's been an hour and a half. You know, we do it every week. The video doesn't seem to be working anyway, which is making me sad.
Be on YouTube.
The audio working though?
It will be on YouTube, yeah, for sure. I'll definitely put this thing up. I don't know if the audio is working in the world either. I think Stencil maybe be able to tell us. Okay, but everybody they seem to keep refreshing. So I'm getting the feeling that things aren't flowing the way they should be.
Man,
I know, man. I know. You
a lot of good time. I appreciate
covered a lot of good stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
But let me cut the stream here. And you guys already know. Thanks for everybody for coming out. If you can hear me, I don't know or not. I know the people. I got MK in the Discord. Peace, MK, man. I appreciate you. Checking us out. Yeah, man. We'll talk to you guys next week.
He can hear us.
Later, guys.
See you guys.